Today, we are embarking on a captivating journey back in time to explore one of the most iconic figures in world history, Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus, the intrepid Genoese explorer, is widely celebrated for his daring voyage across the Atlantic Ocean in 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue and accidentally stumbled upon the shores of America while searching for a direct route to Asia. This chance encounter not only revolutionized the course of history but also bridged the gap between two worlds. But wait, there's more to the story. As we dig deeper, we'll unravel the controversies and debates surrounding Columbus's legacy. Was he truly the first to discover America, or were there earlier voyages that history overlooked? In this riveting video, we will uncover the hidden truth about the discovery of America, highs and lows of Columbus's journey, and the growing movement to reassess how people commemorate his legacy. In the bustling port city of Genoa, Italy, Christopher Columbus was born in 1451. Raised in a modest family, his early life was shaped by the maritime atmosphere of the city, igniting a passion for exploration that would define his ambitions. As a young man, Columbus worked as a skilled sailor and mapmaker, gaining invaluable knowledge of the seas and the known world at the time. One of Columbus's driving ambitions was to find a direct trade route to Asia. The renowned Silk Road, which connected Europe to Asia, was the source of many precious goods and spices that were highly sought after in Europe. However, the Silk Road was both lengthy and fraught with dangers, making it a costly and perilous journey for merchants. Columbus, a visionary with an inquisitive mind, became fascinated with the idea of discovering a faster and safer route to the riches of the East. Drawing inspiration from ancient geographical texts, Columbus formulated a daring plan: to sail westward across the Atlantic Ocean, believing that by doing so, he could reach the fabled lands of Asia. His concept was based on the belief that the Earth was smaller than most cartographers of the time assumed, leading him to underestimate the distance to Asia. Despite his conviction, Columbus faced numerous rejections when presenting his ambitious proposal to several European powers, including Portugal, Genoa, and England. Many experts and scholars at the time scoffed at his ideas, dismissing them as unfeasible and impractical. Undeterred, Columbus remained resolute in his belief and set his sights on seeking support from the Catholic monarchs, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain. He embarked on a tireless journey, making several trips to Spain to present his plans before the royal court. It wasn't until 1492, after nearly a decade of persistent efforts, that he finally won the backing of the Spanish monarchy. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, intrigued by the potential riches and the opportunity to spread Christianity, agreed to finance his expedition. In the late 15th century, Christopher Columbus, driven by his vision of discovering a new trade route to Asia, conceived an audacious plan to sail westward across the uncharted waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Columbus firmly believed that by doing so, he could bypass the arduous journey through the Silk Road and reach the wealthy lands of Asia, promising untold riches for his patrons and Spain. After facing multiple rejections from other European powers, Columbus found a glimmer of hope in the Spanish monarchy. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain, after years of war with the Moors, had finally completed the Reconquista in 1492, and their attention turned towards exploration and expansion. Columbus's proposal to open a new trade route presented a chance to enhance Spain's influence and fill their coffers with the precious spices and wealth of the East. With the financial support of the Catholic monarchs, Columbus set his plan in motion. In August 1492, he embarked on his fateful journey with a small fleet of 3 ships, the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. These vessels, though modest in size by today's standards, represented the cutting-edge technology of their time. The Santa Maria, the largest of the trio, served as Columbus's flagship, while the smaller Nina and Pinta accompanied him. The voyage was fraught with uncertainty and danger, as the crew ventured into the vast unknown, far from the comforting shores of Europe. Fears of falling off the edge of the flat earth were common in those times, but Columbus remained steadfast in his belief in a spherical earth, thanks to the wisdom passed down from ancient scholars. His navigational expertise and the accuracy of his maps provided a glimmer of confidence to the crew, despite their growing trepidation. Weeks turned into months, and the determination of Columbus and his crew was put to the test. Finally, on October 12, 1492, the lookout aboard the Pinta spotted land. The long-awaited shores of the New World had been reached. However, Columbus's misconception of having reached Asia persisted, leading to the misnomer, West Indies, for the newly discovered territories. Columbus's accidental discovery of the Americas opened the floodgates to further exploration and colonization, reshaping the world's geopolitical landscape. His voyage marked the beginning of the Columbian Exchange, a profound exchange of goods, animals, plants, and diseases between the eastern and western hemispheres. Upon reaching the Caribbean islands during his historic voyage in 1492, Christopher Columbus and his crew encountered a world they had never imagined. The lush landscapes, exotic flora and fauna, and the presence of indigenous peoples were unlike anything they had seen before. Little did they know that this land was an entirely new continent, the Americas. The initial encounters with the indigenous peoples were marked by curiosity and apprehension. The indigenous communities, such as the Taino people in present-day Bahamas and the Arawak people in the Caribbean, were understandably wary of these strangers who arrived on large wooden vessels. Despite the language barrier, initial interactions were generally peaceful, as both parties exchanged goods and tried to understand each other. Columbus's misconceptions about reaching Asia added to the complexities of the situation. Believing that he had indeed arrived in the eastern regions of Asia, Columbus named the inhabitants Indians. This term has persisted in history, despite the realization that the lands he discovered were not part of Asia at all. The significance of this accidental discovery cannot be overstated in the context of European exploration. Columbus's voyage marked the beginning of a new era of exploration and colonization. The news of his discovery spread like wildfire throughout Europe, fueling an age of exploration and expansion in which other European powers sought to claim their own territories in the newfound lands. Spain's successful claim to the New World provided a massive boost to their economic and political power, leading to the colonization of vast territories in the Americas. This colonization had profound and far-reaching consequences, shaping the course of global history, trade, and cultural exchanges for centuries to come. The Columbian Exchange, as it came to be known, saw the exchange of goods, animals, crops, and diseases between the eastern and western hemispheres. The Americans contributed new crops like potatoes, maize, and tomatoes, which revolutionized European diets, while Europe brought animals like horses and cattle to the Americas, transforming the ways of life of indigenous peoples. However, this accidental discovery also came at a significant cost for the indigenous populations. The arrival of European settlers brought with it diseases to which the indigenous peoples had little immunity. This led to devastating epidemics, wiping out large portions of the native populations and disrupting their societies. The hidden truth about the discovery of America challenges the traditional narrative that Christopher Columbus was the first to set foot on the continent. While Columbus's voyage in 1492 is historically significant and marked a turning point in world history, it is essential to acknowledge that America was not truly discovered, as it had been inhabited by indigenous peoples for thousands of years before European arrival. Research and historical evidence have shed light on the fact that indigenous civilizations thrived in the Americas long before Columbus's expedition. Advanced societies like the Mayans, Aztecs, and Incas had built sophisticated cities, developed agriculture, and established complex cultural and religious practices. Similarly, Native American tribes inhabited various regions of North America, leading diverse and rich cultural lives. Moreover, there were earlier voyages and contacts between Europe and the Americas. Nordic explorers, notably Leif Erikson and the Vikings, are believed to have reached North America around the 11th century, establishing temporary settlements. However, these interactions did not result in lasting European presence or significant impact. The traditional notion of discovery is a Eurocentric perspective that often overlooks the rich history and contributions of the indigenous peoples who had already inhabited the land. It's important to recognize the complexities of historical narratives and avoid romanticizing or oversimplifying events. Christopher Columbus's voyage had significant historical impacts, with his achievements widely acknowledged in Europe during his time and beyond. His successful return to Spain with tales of Newfoundlands fueled enthusiasm for exploration and expansion, inspiring subsequent voyages to the Americas. Columbus became a symbol of the Age of Discovery, and his expeditions opened a new era of European exploration, leading to the establishment of colonies and the eventual spread of European influence across the continents. However, the narrative surrounding Columbus's discovery of America has been a subject of intense debate. Critics argue that it is a Eurocentric perspective that overlooks the fact that the Americas were already inhabited by diverse indigenous cultures with rich histories. Columbus's arrival did not equate to a true discovery, as the land was already known and cherished by the indigenous peoples who had been living there for generations. Moreover, Columbus's legacy is tainted by a dark side that cannot be ignored. Exploration and colonization brought devastating consequences for the indigenous populations. The arrival of Europeans introduced new diseases that the indigenous peoples had no immunity to, leading to widespread epidemics and the decimation of entire communities. European colonization also led to forced labor, land seizures, and cultural assimilation, causing immense suffering and loss for the native inhabitants. Columbus's mistreatment of the indigenous people is also a significant controversy. Accounts of violence, enslavement, and exploitation reveal a dark chapter in history. Despite his initial interactions with curiosity and respect, Columbus's later actions and policies as a colonial governor were oppressive and detrimental to the indigenous communities. As awareness of the negative consequences of Columbus's actions has grown, there has been a re-evaluation of his legacy. The celebration of Columbus Day, once a widely accepted holiday, has faced increasing criticism and led to calls for a more nuanced and inclusive approach to history. In recent years, there has been a growing movement to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day. This shift aims to honor the indigenous cultures and acknowledge the historical injustices they endured during the period of European colonization.